Hi, I'm Elly. Today I'm going to read you a story called Grandparents' Day. Are you ready to listen? Okay. If you're ready, then I'm going to read you the story for you. Grandparents' Day. Chapter 1. Getting to know you. It was Grandparents' Day at Plunkett Street. All the students have invited their grandparents to visit school. Miss Fazio was working hard to make sure her classroom was spick and span. Pens and pencils in your trays, bits of paper in the bin, books back on the shelf, bags away neatly. She'll point in all the directions. Here, there. I want everyone to be on their best behavior. Awesome! Cried Nelson. Did you hear me, Nelson? Quizzed Miss Fazio, a little confused. Yes, miss, said Miss Fazio with a big grin. Well then, Miss Fazio said, let's bring in our guests. She opened the classroom door and popped her head out into the hallway. Please come in, she said warmly. Whoa, I think he's too excited, don't you think? Too excited. Oh, her hands but really move back like this. A line of nervous but curious grandparents shuffled into the classroom. Bruno's grandfather was so tall that he almost hit his head on the doorframe. Is that possible? Usually not. Ming's grandmother was so small, she was only slightly bigger than Ming. Welcome to our wonderful class, announced Miss Fazio. We've been looking forward to your visit. Please take a few moments to say hello to each other and have a look around. The children have been working on lots of interesting things to show you. What did she say? Asked Rahib's grandfather loudly. Her mouth moved a lot. But I didn't catch a word. Rahib went red. Grandpa, do you have your hearing aid turned off again? Rahib reached up and fiddled with this device in his grandfather's ear. Suddenly, his grandfather's eyes lit up. That's better, he smiled. Whoa. I can catch one. This is Ming's grandmother and Beatrice and Rahib and don't know when Brooke and Ilse. Okay, I'm going to do it again. Ming's grandmother and Brooke I don't know. And Brooke and Beatrice's mother, I think, and Leon's grandmother. Don't you think so, Leon's grandmother? And it looks like a little bit of Nelson. And no, and it looks like Heaney's grandmother and Ruby and Bruno, who's the tallest. Leon's grandmother smoothed him with kisses. Leon tried to squirm out of her python hug, but she only held him tighter. Bruno's grandfather admired the view out of the window. Miles' grandfather found a sunny spot and read an old newspaper he had found in the art bin. Heaney's grandmother laughed and pointed at the artwork on the classroom wall. Brooke and Beatrice's grandmothers whispered to each other as their granddaughters led them around the room. Ruby's grandfather refused to wear the glasses. I don't need them, he grumbled. He was bumping into something into everything, and Ruby had to tell him what he had colored with each stem. Are you sure it's a chair, Rubes? It looks a lot like the flower pot I sat in last week. I don't want to end up with more spikes in my bottom. I'll get your glasses, sighed Ruby. Nelson's grandfather seemed very uncomfortable. He squirmed in his seat. Just like Nelson, they silently squirmed next to each other. Remember, children, said Miss Fazio, raising her voice above the bin. This may be a good time to ask your grandparents what school was like when they were young. Heaney asked her grandmother what school had been like. The old woman smiled warmly and just laughed and laughed. Miles' grandfather had fallen asleep, was snoring. To drown out his grandfather's snuffs and snorts, Miles started talking very loudly about the weather with Nelson. Just ducking out for a minute, announced Miss Fazio. No one in the classroom took any notice when Miss Fazio left. They also didn't notice Ruby's grandfather lift the lid of the frog tank at the back of the room. What? Frog? I don't like frogs. Frog. Don't like it. Real frogs. Well, I told you he looks like Nelson. And frogs! I really don't like frogs. I need an air. Just kidding. My heart is racing. How did you like things in air? Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Okay. Feel a little better. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Oh, it's better. Okay. Chapter 2. Breakout Without his glasses, Ruby's grandfather didn't see the sign in bold red letters. Attention, the cycle project think live frogs inside. Do not remove lid without teacher permission. He thought the frog tank was a bin. He lifted the lid, dropped in his dirty tissue, and wandered away. No one saw the frogs escape from the tank. But soon after, Nelson saw something flying through the air and land in the perfect gray hair of Ming's grandmother. Frog! Yelled Nelson, jumping up and down in seat and pointing. Ming's grandmother wondered why a scruffy young boy was yelling and pointing at her. She reached up to pat her hair into place. She felt something cool, something slimy, something moving. Ah! She screamed, "Get it off me! Get it off me!" Ooh, frogs. Okay. I can make a loudest sound. Isn't it loud? My mom said that we can't hear much. Yeah. The very loud sound. Because dove and whales make a sound but really high so we can't hear. Oh, and there's a whale, don't you think? There, the picture. There. Here, up here. Can you see it? Oh, and there's a whale one. Ming grabbed the frog, and Miles checked the tank. All the frogs are missing, except for Bubbles, he cried. That's so, said Ming, referring the frog she had now tucked under her armpit, out of sight. Heeny's grandmother laughed so much that Heeny wanted to hide too. I see one, said Bruno's grandfather, pointing under the table. He bent down to grab the animal. Can you reach it, Grandpa? Asked Bruno. No, I need a young person back to do that, replied Bruno's grandfather. Ow! Bruno helped his grandfather to a chair next to Miles' grandfather, who was still snoring. Oh, Heeny's grandmother sure is laughing a lot. She's laughing too much. What do you call a woman with a frog on her head? Asked Bruno's grandfather. Lily. Bruno's grandfather cackled at his own joke as he scooped up the frog that had now leaped onto Miles' sleeping grandfather. That's Loopy, said Miles. Just then his grandfather woke up. Who are you calling Loopy, lad? He growled. This is Loopy, said Bruno, pointing the frog in his grandfather's hands. Heeny's grandmother got the hiccups from her laughing. Oh, she's too much laughing, don't you think? If my grandmother does like that, I want to hide. Found another one, Nelson's grandfather, scooping a frog out of Miss Fazio's pot plant. That's Hoppy, said Nelson. Nelson's grandfather crept up behind Heeny's grandmother and surprised her with a loud, "Ah! Hiccups gone now?" He smiled. Chapter 3. finding Flip-Flop. Here's Jumpy, said Holly, holding back another frog. She was on the bookshelf. Now we just have to find Flip-Flop, said Brooke and Beatrice together. He's my frog, cried Raheem. I raised him from a tadpole. We can't lose Flip-Flop. Don't worry, Raheem. I'll find him, said his grandfather. I just need everyone to be extra quiet. The classroom fell silent. Raheem's grandfather turned his hearing aid up as loud as it would go. He began to scan the room with his ears. He walked 2 steps towards the whiteboard. Can you hear him? Asked Raheem in a whisper. Shh, said his grandfather. He turned and walked 3 passes towards the back on the classroom. Is he close by? Whispered Raheem. Shh, repeated his grandfather. He edged his way slowly between the desks, turning his head from side to side. Suddenly his ears locked onto a sound. He quickly strolled over to Ruby's grandfather, who was trying to sharpen a pencil. They don't make pencil sharpeners like the used to, used Ruby's grandfather. That's because it's a frog. It's a frog! It's a frog. Flip-Flop! cried Raheem. Ruby's grandfather had a firm hold on the frog. Its back legs were jerking and kicking, and its mouth was a pencil. A frog, really? Sorry about that, said Ruby's grandfather, handing over Flip-Flop. Chapter 4. Best Behavior. All the frogs were returned to the frog tank, and Ricky made sure that the lid was on properly. After the excitement of the escaping frogs, everyone felt much more relaxed and friendly. Now, since grandfather had a short lesson on how to make the best super fast paper planes, Leon's grandmother wrote some math puzzles on the board. I always dreamed of being a teacher, she sighed. Keeny's grandmother stood at the front of the class and sang her old school song. By the time Miss Fazio returned, the room was humming. Morning tea's ready, she announced, but no one paid any attention. Miss Fazio tried again. Excuse me. Everyone carried on except Leon's grandmother. Quiet, everyone, she boomed. Miss Fazio have something to say. Miss Fazio went slightly pink. Thank you, she smiled. I just want to let everyone that the morning tea is ready outside and there's a cake. Cake! Cried the grandparents, and they all rushed to the door at once. Wow, they like cake, huh? Yeah, cake. The class stood back and watched their grandparents fill their mouths, laugh, and talk. Some of them did all 3 at the same time. Ruby only just saved her grandfather from eating a plastic cup. Not a cupcake? He asked, surprised. Ruby shook her head. Can you please wear your glasses now, Grandpa? She begged. Nope, I don't need them, sweetie, he said, and elbowed in to get some food. Whoa. Eating many. Oh. Ming watched the morning tea disappear before her eyes. Do you think they've been on their best behavior?" she asked. "Oh, believe me," sighed Ruby. "Grandpa has definitely been on his best behavior." "Mine too," added Nelson. "You should have heard the stories of what he got up to when he was at school. I've got some great new ideas to try out here." Nelson's grandfather gave his grandson a huge open-mouthed smile with a mouthful of cupcake. "What am I, Nelson? What am I?" he asked as crumbles flew everywhere. "A frog with a mouthful of food," laughed Nelson. Everyone joined in, even Miss Fazio, but no one laughed louder than Heeny's grandmother. Heeny's grandmother all the time, I think. She's laughing too many. And this is sorry. And this is a little I'll just turn it off. And thank you for listening my story. But in my school we don't have Grandparents' Day. Yeah. We don't. The grandparents doesn't come to our classroom. Yeah. And thank you for listening my story, and I'll find out with a more fantastic story. Bye.